What if I told you that the most powerful healing diet ever documented wasn't created by a nutritionist, isn't sold in a wellness clinic, and didn't come from a lab? It came from a book that's been sitting on your shelf your whole life? Here's what nobody tells you. While we're obsessing over macros, chasing supplements, and trusting processed food marketed as heart healthy, the Bible was already prescribing specific foods that Egyptian physicians used on pharaohs, that Roman soldiers carried into battle, and that clinical researchers are right now publishing peer-reviewed papers on. These aren't folk remedies. These are nutritional weapons validated by modern biochemistry, forgotten by modern culture. Stay with me, because number 13 on this list was so rare and precious in the ancient world that kings literally sent it as a diplomatic gift to foreign rulers. And nutritional scientists now call it one of the most mineral-dense, prebiotic-rich foods ever studied. And number 20, the food that may have sustained one of the greatest prophets in history, modern oncologists are stunned by what its compounds do to cancer cells and gut pathogens in clinical trials. 20 foods, thousands of years of wisdom. Let's begin. Number 1. Olive oil, liquid gold, living medicine. The Good Samaritan poured oil and wine directly into a stranger's wounds. Luke 10. That wasn't a comfort gesture. That was first-century emergency medicine. Here's what most people miss. The compound oleocanthal, in cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil, functions almost identically to ibuprofen at reducing inflammation, confirmed in published pharmacological studies. The Mediterranean diet built on this oil has been linked across hundreds of clinical trials to reduced rates of heart disease, cancer, cognitive decline, and all-cause mortality. Practical use today. 1 tablespoon of quality cold-pressed olive oil daily, drizzled over everything. Applied topically for wound care and skin conditions. Olive oil got forgotten as medicine when synthetic anti-inflammatories were marketed as faster and more convenient. But olive oil still offers what it's offered for 6,000 years healing, so complete that scripture trusted it for kings, priests, and strangers on the road. The pharmacy was always in the pantry. Number 2. Raw honey, heaven's antimicrobial. Proverb says, "Eat honey, for it is good." Jonathan dips his rod in wild honey and his eyes brighten. 3,000-year-old honey found sealed in Egyptian tombs was still edible when archaeologists opened them. Here's what nobody tells you. Raw honey kills MRSA antibiotic-resistant bacteria through 3 simultaneous mechanisms. Hydrogen peroxide production, a low pH that destroys pathogens, and a protein called defensin, one that actively dismantles bacterial cell walls. Manuka honey is now used in certified hospital wound dressings worldwide. The word is raw. Heat it past 40 degrees Celsius, and you destroy the enzymes that make it medicinal. Most grocery store honey is nutritionally closer to syrup. Practical use. Raw honey on wounds. A spoonful at the first sign of a sore throat, mixed with warm water and lemon for immune support. Honey still offers what it's offered, since the Promised Land antimicrobial power is so reliable that even modern hospitals had to admit it works. If your ancestors survived deserts on this, your immune system can handle a cold. Number 3. Figs, Isaiah's prescription. When King Hezekiah lay dying from a deadly infected wound, the prophet Isaiah didn't just pray. He ordered a fig poultice pressed directly onto the wound. 2 Kings 20 verse 7. The king recovered. Here's what most people miss. Figs contain physin, a proteolytic enzyme that breaks down dead tissue and promotes wound closure, alongside benzaldehyde and psoralen compounds with documented antimicrobial properties confirmed in modern laboratory studies. But figs aren't only wound medicine. They are extraordinarily mineral-dense magnesium, potassium, calcium, B vitamins in concentrations that made them the ancient world's multivitamin. Their pectin fiber feeds beneficial gut bacteria more selectively than almost any other fruit. Practical use. Fresh figs at peak ripeness for gut health. Dried figs year-round as a mineral supplement. Mashed fresh figs applied to inflamed or infected skin. Figs still offer what they offered a dying king, healing that works from the inside out and the outside in simultaneously. Isaiah knew the prescription. Science finally wrote the explanation. Number 4. Dates, the original energy bar. The date palm is mentioned more than any other fruit tree in Scripture. It wasn't celebrated for beauty. It was celebrated because it kept people alive on foot across hundreds of miles of desert. Here's what most people miss. Dates are the only natural food that combines rapid-release glucose with significant fiber, magnesium, potassium, and B vitamins in one portable package. Multiple clinical trials have found that women who ate dates in the final weeks of pregnancy had measurably faster, smoother deliveries. The research was so consistent, it's been replicated across multiple countries. Practical use: 3 to 5 dates before physical exertion to break a fast, or as a natural sweetener replacing refined sugar entirely. Dates still offer what they offered desert soldiers and wilderness pilgrims: sustained energy with minerals intact, exactly as God packaged them. The original energy bar had no wrapper, it had a seed. Number 5. Pomegranate, the antioxidant the temple chose. Solomon carved 200 pomegranates into the pillars of the temple. The high priest's robe was hemmed with them. This fruit didn't end up in sacred architecture by accident. Here's what most people miss. Pomegranates contain punicle-agens compounds found almost nowhere else in nature that break down in the gut into urolithins, molecules with documented anti-inflammatory and preliminary anti-cancer effects in research. Clinical trials show pomegranate juice outperforms red wine and green tea in antioxidant concentration and measurably reduces blood pressure, LDL oxidation, and arterial inflammation. And nobody tells you this: the rind, which everyone throws away, is more medically concentrated than the juice. Traditional Middle Eastern healers steeped it into tea for gut infections and parasites. Practical use: eat the seeds fresh, drink cold-pressed juice, steep dried rind in hot water for gut support. Pomegranate still offers what it offered the priests of Solomon's temple: protection so profound they built it into the house of God. The fruit that decorated the sacred is still protecting the body. Number 6. Lentils, the birthright food. Esau trades his entire inheritance for lentil stew, Genesis 25. That sounds reckless until you understand that in the ancient world, lentils weren't humble food, they were survival food. Here's what modern nutrition confirms. Lentils provide 18 grams of protein per cooked cup, alongside iron, folate, zinc, and magnesium. Despite their carbohydrate content, their glycemic index is remarkably low. They fuel sustained energy without blood sugar spikes. And population studies consistently show that legume consumption is one of the strongest predictors of healthy aging across every culture studied worldwide. Practical use: soak overnight, cook slowly with cumin and olive oil. This reduces anti-nutrients and dramatically increases mineral absorption. Lentils still offer what they offered prophets, soldiers, and wandering tribes: complete nutrition in the simplest possible package. A birthright was traded for this bowl. Now you know why. If you're starting to see the pattern, if you're realizing that this isn't coincidence, that every single food scripture emphasized is one modern science keeps vindicating, hit that like button right now. It helps this reach the people who need it most. And if you haven't subscribed yet, join us. We connect ancient wisdom with modern evidence every single week. Now let's get to the ones that are going to genuinely stop you. Number 7. Barley, the grain that outlasted everything. When Jesus fed 5,000 people in John 6, those loaves were barley bread, the grain of ordinary people. And ordinary people were eating the highest beta-glucan concentration of any grain on earth. Beta-glucan is so proven to lower cholesterol and stabilize blood sugar that the FDA allows a health claim on products containing it. Barley still offers what it offered the multitude on that hillside: humble, extraordinary nourishment hiding in plain sight. Number 8. Ancient wheat, not what you think. The wheat of Scripture, einkorn and emmer, has 14 chromosomes. Modern commodity wheat has 42. They are nutritionally, structurally, and digestively different foods. Einkorn has higher protein, more antioxidants, lower glycemic response, and a gluten structure that many people who react to modern wheat tolerate without issue. Biblical bread wasn't making people sick. What we turned wheat into is making people sick. Number 9. Grapes. From vine to vitality, Jesus called himself the true vine. Noah planted one after the flood. Grapes appear at every table of consequence in Scripture. And resveratrol concentrated in grape skins activates the cellular repair proteins called sirtuins, which are among the most exciting compounds in longevity research today. Grapes still offer what they've offered since Eden life: pressed from a vine, working at the cellular level. Number 10. Wine, the ancient medicine used wisely. Paul tells Timothy, use a little wine for your stomach's sake. The Good Samaritan pours wine directly into wounds as antiseptic. This wasn't poetry. Diluted wine demonstrably kills E. coli and salmonella more effectively than equivalent alcohol alone. Moderate red wine consumption is associated with improved HDL cholesterol and reduced cardiovascular mortality. Wine got misused when culture separated it from the context Scripture gave it. small amounts, with food, purposefully, as medicine. Number 11. Fish, the omega-3 covenant. The disciples were fishermen. Jesus ate fish after the resurrection. The Sea of Galilee's sardines and tilapia are among the richest sources of DHA and EPA on Earth, essential fatty acids that build brain cell membranes and reduce systemic inflammation. Populations that eat fatty fish regularly, consistently, outperform inland populations in every cardiovascular and cognitive health metric studied. Fish still offers what it offered those first fishermen: essential nutrition that the brain and heart cannot manufacture alone. Number 12. Goat's milk, the promised land's probiotic. The land flowing with milk and honey was flowing with goat's milk, a food with smaller fat globules, a 2-casein protein, naturally occurring probiotics, and medium-chain fatty acids, including caprylic acid with documented antimicrobial and antifungal effects. Goat's milk got sidelined when industrial dairy scaled up with cows. But for anyone with dairy sensitivity or gut dysbiosis, the milk of the promised land still offers what it's always offered: nourishment the gut actually recognizes. Number 13. Hyssop, the purification that was prevention. The T's revealed. Psalm 51. Purge me with hyssop and I shall be clean. Leviticus uses it in purification rituals for disease and infection. A hyssop branch lifts a sponge to Jesus at Calvary. Here's what nobody tells you. Hyssop contains carvacrol and thymol, the same antimicrobial compounds in oregano and thyme, two of the most powerful natural antiseptics ever studied. Research has confirmed hyssop inhibits herpes simplex virus, clears lung congestion, and kills a broad spectrum of bacteria and fungi. When you understand this, the purification rituals make functional sense. You were wiping surfaces and persons with a genuine antimicrobial agent. God's instructions were practical. They worked. Hyssop got forgotten when synthetic disinfectants arrived and scripture was reduced to symbols. But it still offers what it offered the Israelites: real purification that works on a measurable, molecular level. The ritual was always also the remedy. Number 14. Cumin, the spice Jesus named. The only spice Jesus mentions by name, Matthew 23, verse 23. You tithe things of real worth. Cumin contains cuminaldehyde with confirmed broad-spectrum antimicrobial effects. Clinical studies show it lowers fasting blood sugar and improves insulin sensitivity in type 2 diabetics. 3 grams provides 20% of daily iron needs. Cumin still offers what it offered biblical households: daily medicine, disguised as daily cooking. Number 15. Coriander, the detox herb hidden in manna. Scripture compares manna to coriander seed. Coriander was found in Tutankhamun's tomb. Modern research shows it reduces anxiety comparably to pharmaceutical diazepam in animal models, has anti-inflammatory effects, and preliminary evidence suggests it helps mobilize heavy metals from tissue. Coriander still offers what it offered the wilderness generation: healing so quiet it was built into their daily bread without them even knowing. Number 16. Garlic, the food that made the Israelites weep. Numbers 11, verse 5, in the wilderness. The Israelites didn't just complain about garlic. They mourned it with tears. Egyptian medical papyri list garlic in over 20 therapeutic preparations. Clinical trials confirm it reduces blood pressure, lowers LDL cholesterol, and has broad-spectrum antimicrobial effects against bacteria, viruses, fungi, and parasites. Garlic still offers what it offered Egypt's greatest physicians: medicine so powerful that people wept when they lost access to it. Number 17. Onions, the prebiotic king listed alongside garlic in that wilderness lament. Egyptian pyramid laborers were paid in onions and garlic. Onions are one of the richest dietary sources of quercetin, a polyphenol confirmed to reduce blood pressure, inhibit inflammatory pathways, and reduce allergy symptoms. Their inulin fructans specifically feed bifidobacterium and lactobacillus, the gut bacteria. Modern medicine is now spending billions trying to restore through supplements. Onions still offer what they offered Egypt's workers: gut medicine, so foundational that civilizations were literally built on it. Number 18. Almonds, the symbol God built into the tabernacle. God instructed Moses to design the menorah with cups shaped like almond blossoms. Exodus 25. Aaron's rod miraculously produced almonds. 1 ounce provides 37% of daily vitamin E, significant magnesium, monounsaturated fats, and fiber in a structure so efficient that some of its calories pass through the gut-feeding bacteria rather than being stored. Clinical trials confirm regular almond consumption lowers LDL, reduces post-meal blood sugar, and improves gut microbiome diversity. Almonds still offer what they offered the most sacred objects in Israel's worship: nourishment. So perfect, it was built into holy architecture. Number 19. Pistachios, the patriarch's gift. When Jacob sent his sons to Egypt during famine, pistachios made his diplomatic gift list. Genesis 43, verse 11. If a patriarch thought them worthy of a foreign ruler, pay attention. Pistachios are uniquely high in lutein and zeaxanthin for eye health, extraordinarily rich in prebiotic fiber that increases bifidobacterium more than most nuts tested, and have shown improvements in blood sugar, lipid profiles, and inflammatory markers in clinical research. Pistachios still offer what they offered Jacob's sons, a gift genuinely worthy of royalty, available to anyone. Number 20. Carob the prophet's survival food. Matthew 3, verse 4. John the Baptist lived in the wilderness on locusts and wild honey. Many biblical scholars who know the Judean wilderness argue those locusts were the pods of the carob tree Ceratonia siliqua, called locust beans, or saint, John's bread, throughout the ancient Middle East. The carob tree grows wild, exactly where John ministered. And combined with wild honey, you have a survival diet of almost unbelievable nutritional sophistication. Here's what most people miss. Carob pods contain up to 40% dietary fiber by dry weight, one of the highest concentrations of any food on Earth. Their condensed tannins have been shown in clinical studies to be effective against rotavirus and gut pathogens in children. Carob was actually used in European hospitals for childhood diarrhea, before pharmaceutical options became standard. Naturally gluten-free, no caffeine, no oxalates, rich in calcium, iron, potassium. And here's what modern oncologists find stunning. The proanthocyanidins in carobs show preliminary evidence of selectively targeting cancer cell pathways in laboratory research, while the prebiotic fiber builds the gut ecosystem that regulates immune response. Practical use. Carob pods as a sweet whole food. Carob flour in bread and porridge. Carob syrup for respiratory conditions and gut support. Here's the reframe that ties this entire list together. John the Baptist was not suffering in the wilderness. He was thriving on two of the most medically powerful foods in the ancient world. While everyone in civilization ate elaborate meals and grew weak, carob still offers what it offered: a prophet preparing the way, endurance, protection, and a gut strong enough to survive the desert. Sometimes the food that gets forgotten is the food that deserves to be remembered most. We started today with a question. What if the most powerful healing diet wasn't discovered by modern science, but was already written down? You now have the answer. 20 foods. Scripture, Egyptian history, clinical trials, all arriving at the same conclusion, generation after generation. The book was right. It just didn't explain the mechanism, because the mechanism was never the point. The healing was the point. Drop a comment and tell me which one stopped you cold. Was it the fig poultice that healed a king? The honey that kills MRSA in hospitals? The prophet's wilderness diet that oncologists are studying? I read every single one. Subscribe, ring that bell, and I'll see you next week. The wisdom was always there now. You know exactly where to find it. Thank you for watching.